Hello everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share today. 2025 was an absolutely impactful year for me. And today I wanted to share a very recent story from just the past several months of how my life was steered into an entirely new trajectory and a direction that I never would have expected even just several months ago. I will begin the story at my local library. I was there just to print off some papers, and I saw a bulletin board with all sorts of events and things that the library was hosting. And it caught my attention as a potential opportunity to find something to plug in my local community and something to participate in. And immediately what caught my eye was that they have Tai Chi classes at the library. And I love Tai Chi. I've been doing it for some years, and it's been really, really good and healthy and supportive for me. And so to see that there's Tai Chi classes at the library where I can practice with people from my local community, I was really excited. So I started going, and the classes were great. I ended up meeting an instructor there, and she was a volunteer firefighter at my local fluorescent fire station. And we got to talking, and hearing about what she was doing sort of sparked a little something in my heart. I had been looking for ways to plug in deeper into my local community of where I live, as well as look for ways to really be able to serve my community. And volunteer firefighting really caught my attention and really sparked something in my heart of a potential opportunity for that. But I told her I don't have any background of anything that feels like that. I don't have any fire or medical or even military background that would be able to naturally fit into that. And she says, it does not even matter. They will take absolutely anybody, and they can find a place for anybody. And so all you need to do is you need to go to several weeks. They have a weekly training night. And so you show up and you join in for that weekly training night for several weeks in a row in order to just see how it all runs and meet some people and just demonstrate a small level of consistency and commitment. And so I thought it was worth a try, and I started going to the weekly training nights at the fire station. And my experience with it was a little difficult. So much of the time I didn't know what they were talking about between the systems of how everything works, the words and the jargon and the acronyms. It was also a high pressure emergency environment that I'd never experienced before. And so it just sort of felt like a lot. It made me feel like this feels like a lot to do as a volunteer opportunity, and I would have so much to learn before I'm even able to begin to offer value or actually be able to help or serve in any kind of way. There's a lot ahead of me in that. And so I didn't really know if I wanted to do it, and I didn't know if it was right for me. But every week there would be a little breadcrumb. There would be something that would draw me back. I would either meet somebody, or I would hear something or learn something or receive an insight that would be enough to say, even though I don't know if this is right for me, even though if I don't know if I want to do this, I'm gonna come back next week and keep exploring and keep being open to it. And so I feel like in that, just looking for reasons to keep going back even when I wasn't certain, it fanned that little spark into my heart, and it grew a little bit into an ember. And so several weeks went by, and it was sort of the same for me. I wasn't sure, but the breadcrumbs would keep on pulling me. And so it was several weeks, and this coming evening was going to be my final interview and onboarding to become a volunteer firefighter. I still wasn't quite sure about it, but I thought, well, I've made it this far, and since it's a volunteer opportunity, I'm sure I can figure out a way to fit fit into the team. So to shift gears a little bit, at that time I was working on a small hobby ranch out in a rural area, not too far from where I live, and I was taking care of a whole bunch of animals. And it was really good for me. I really learned and grew a lot just in the simple ways of being around animals and taking care of animals teaches you. It's very simple, but it felt really healthy. And I really enjoyed it, and I got a lot out of it. And then the woman who owned the ranch, Claudia, it really helped her out as well to give her a break from the constant work that tending a ranch requires. And then additionally, we ended up developing a really close relationship. After I would do the work, I would go inside and we would have coffee together and we would talk and share deeply. We both had some pretty difficult and intense years of 2025, and so we would be able to share with each other what we were going through and be supportive for each other and just be able to hold space for each other. And so we developed a very close relationship, and she almost like was grandmotherly to me. And yeah, it was a very very special time to go take care of the animals in the morning and then go have coffee and be able to talk with this person who I developed a very close relationship with. And so that morning, before my training and onboarding later that night at the fire station, I show up at the ranch to do my normal work, but that day things felt off. And I went inside and to check on Claudia and see what was going on, and I ended up finding her actually unconscious on the ground. And it was an overwhelming moment. I had never actually been that close to death before. She was in a very, very bad place. But I checked her and she was breathing, and so I was like, well, gotta act. Ran over, I called 911, and I began doing CPR. And I did CPR for over 20 minutes. It takes a little while for the first response to get out to that rural area. But when they got there, oh my goodness, the level of relief and gratitude that I felt for having people come be supportive in that situation. Not only be supportive, I cannot have imagined what I would have done or how I would have navigated that situation if I didn't have 911 and first response to call for that kind of support. And so when they got there, it was just a truly profound experience of gratitude and relief to not be alone in such a horrific experience anymore. And so they took over and they got her heart stabilized, they got her breathing stabilized, and they actually flew her to the hospital. And at the hospital, they ended up doing more tests and finding out that she'd had a very severe brain aneurysm, and she passed away later that afternoon. And so after that crazy morning, just one of the most difficult mornings of my life, and just that afternoon, how that all played out. That evening, I went to the training night at the fire station, and I ended up being interviewed and onboarded as a fluorescent volunteer firefighter. And after going through that, it truly felt like an initiation. It truly had this feeling of, I had just been guided into this pathway, and now all of a sudden I was in it, and those embers had now burned into, like, there was a fire burning in my heart to be the best possible first responder that I can be, and to really step into this new pathway that was opening up before me. And so, yeah, the past few months since that have been a whirlwind. I've been doing my best to learn and train as much as possible because I have so much to learn. I have been participating on 911 calls when I'm able to in order to start learning how that works and operates. I have been doing the Wildland Academy in order to become a wildland firefighter, and I plan to be doing a lot of that this upcoming summer. And I'm also just about to start emergency medical training to begin the pathway towards becoming an EMT. And it has been quite an experience that I never ever would have expected, but I'm so grateful for it. I truly feel so free in it. I don't have any expectations. I don't know where it's going. I can't see the bigger picture of what all is happening. I have just been surrendering into this pathway that has undeniably opened up before me. And I'm truly so grateful and so excited to be able to walk out this adventure that is unfolding before me. So, thank you.